Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's episode, it is a wild, wet, and rainy day out here. I just got the tent set up. It was literally like a swimming pool on top of the tent by the time it got stood up because all the rain was just landing on it. We managed to get out here hiking, kind of dodged the rain for the most part, but within the last 20 minutes, it started coming in. So we decided to call this camp as we've been here many times before. I knew the area was very close by, so we actually just diverted the trail, came here instead. Boomer is soaking wet. Come. Here, come. He is totally soaked. He's got dirt all over his face. So we just got the tent set up, sleeping bag, air mattress, everything is totally soaked. I think now's a really good time to start on a coffee. Get Boomer dried out here. He doesn't know what to think. There's thunder in the distance, so he is a little scared right now. I'm fingers crossed I hopefully get a massive thunder and lightning storm. He's usually pretty good with it, but with all the rain and wetness and the wind blowing around, he didn't know what to think right now. So also, excuse me, Boomer's actually been spending a few days at home because it has been way too hot to take him out. So this is his first time back out in the field in probably a good week and a half. So he's going to take a few minutes to get used to it. He is cold, so I'm actually going to maybe take my jacket off, drape it over top of him. I don't want to use a sleeping bag to keep him warm right now because it's going to be soaking wet later on this evening. So we'll see what happens. He's a pretty tough guy. He'll come around. I mean, after all, he did make it through a hurricane in a hammock. So let's get started on that hot coffee. Alright guys, I've got my hot cup of coffee right now. The winds are picking up really quite strong right now. The rain has subsided, it seems like, for now, but there's still a ton of raindrops coming down off of all these trees. It is raining off and on, just not heavy like it was before. But I got a feeling it's going to come back a little later on. Looking across the lake, it's really dark and ominous, full of clouds. The tent's just whipping around, the door's flapping around, so I'm going to leave that door open because it's on the back side of the wind, and I'm hoping all that air rushing in will actually dry out the sleeping bag and the sleeping pad, which is a little bit wet, so hopefully that'll air dry. I've got all my stuff out here. Anything can get wet, it's all good. That's the beauty about all the gear that I chose to bring with me today. Other than the canister stove itself, if the top of the burner gets wet, it sometimes takes a couple tries to flick in like a flint or holding a match or a lighter to it to dry out the burner. So I've got something situated in front of it. What I like to do to mitigate that is take my lid to my cup that has a recessed area, turn it upside down, and place it directly on top of the burner, and then just put something a little heavy on top. That keeps all the water from pooling up inside of the mesh of the stove, and then it'll light every time, no problem. So on this trip, I do have a couple pieces of new gear. One, these pants are absolutely incredible. Two, which is probably most noticed by the viewers, is this GSI coffee drip. I finally switched over to the GSI drip. It's just so much easier to clean. It's lighter, it fits inside of my pot. It goes on any cup. I love that thing. And the addition of the Near Zero titanium pot. This is a 1200 milliliter pot, I believe, or 1100 milliliters. This thing is incredible. I've been using it as a soup bowl, sometimes as a coffee cup if I'm ultra lighting it. So a couple small pieces of gear here and there. Everything inside of the tent I've been using for quite a while, so you guys know the scoop on that. As well as, I know you guys have seen this, but a lot of people have been asking me what titanium spoon is that. This is also from GSI Outdoors. Very, very thick titanium spoon, but crazy lightweight. So very happy with this. It's nice and strong, and it's been doing the job for a little while now. Actually, it's nothing new to the channel. I've just been using it a lot more lately. So with this little break in our storm weather, I'm gonna try and sit outside and enjoy this kind of brisk cold air. It's about 10 to 12 degrees Celsius out right now. There is a fire ban in effect right now, so unfortunately, I know, a little strange, it's pouring with rain and a fire ban. But it's unfortunate that I cannot have a fire in the fire pit, as there is a burn restriction for today. You know, it's kind of up and down. I would really love to have a fire, but at the same time, is it really worth it? Am I going to sit out here in the rain? I mean, yes, I would for probably a half hour, but it's not really needed. I've got a nice warm sleeping bag inside the tent, along with some hot drinks to be able to eat and stay warm. So not a huge deal breaker, but it would be really nice to have a fire to dry some things out. That's just the way it goes. So I'm going to sit out in this wind. Hopefully, I'm already air drying really quickly. These pants dry fast. My rain jacket dries really quickly as well. So while it is windy, I'm going to air dry myself. So cheers, guys. Enjoy this coffee and this crazy wind. Alright guys, with coffee all finished up, the wind is still coming in and it is spitting with rain off and on, so I'm going to duck inside of the tent, square away a few things, look at what I've got planned for meal prep this evening for supper, and just kind of square some things away here. Some things are a little damp still, so I'd like to unzip the sleeping bag, open that up, go through my food items, prepare all of that, because I may have to actually cook inside of the vestibule of the tent, depending on how heavy this rain comes in. So I just want to be prepared for that, so I'm going to jump inside and take care of that mess. All right, guys, so not a whole lot of room inside of the tent to be doing this stuff, where I do have the camera situated on my sleeping side. I've got the backpack on this side, boomer situated in here. I do have a fair bit of space, but I mean, not a whole lot to be moving around in here. So I'm going to try and do the cooking outside. It is spitting with rain. I don't think it's going to be a major problem. I don't want to have the tent catch on fire, is what I'm trying to say. Having the canister stove here and trying to work in here, I just don't think it's smart. So while I'm just kneeling inside of the tent, I'll explain what I did bring with me. I brought a bag of beef jerky. I have a garlic naan bread inside of this bag. I have some basmati rice, which is already ready to eat. These are the packs of rice that are basically already cooked. It just needs to be warmed up. I have a bag, and in this bag, I've got 4 mushrooms, 2 green onions, and a bunch of green spinach. That is going to be the brunt of the meal. And then I brought a chana masala box of mix. It has chickpeas and all the sauce inside of there. Basically going to slap all of that in the pot, bring it up to temp, and then I'll have the naan bread for dipping. The beef jerky does need to reconstitute, so that is going to need to set in there to rehydrate. But I'm probably going to break it into little pieces because Boomer's going to want some of that too. So yeah, that's going to be supper. Not a whole lot of prep. I guess I could, I don't know. It's not really that wet out. It is still raining, but it's not terrible. I am hungry, and I kind of want to get that done now. So I'm actually just going to slip outside right where I made my coffee, bring all this out there. If it starts to pour with rain, I could just duck back inside of here and finish cooking. So let's take this over to the stump and start cooking up some supper because I am hungry. All right guys, I've got everything in the pot right now, but the biggest problem is the wind with this particular stove. It's just lofting all the heat away, and I'm actually just wasting gas. So what I'm gonna do is use my cutting board as a wind block. Just gotta angle the pot so the handle is actually gonna hold the cutting board and the canister is gonna hold it from falling over. That right there, total wind block. And there's not a lot of heat hitting the cutting board where it is plastic, so I'm not worried it's gonna bend it or melt it. But that right there is making a huge difference on the efficiency with that canister stove. Total difference. All right, so we'll just let that meld and come together. Boomer has a bunch of beef jerky still in this bag, along with some dog food that he's already eaten earlier on. So I'm gonna save that for him so he can at least enjoy a snack with me when I start eating, which will probably be in the next 10 minutes. Even with this cutting board here, it would be really nice to have a full wrap around it as a windshield. I could cook in the vestibule of the tent. I could take some rocks and pile it up around this. Honestly, it's not worth my time. It's only gonna take a few minutes to cook this. They made coffee, no problem, so just a matter of waiting for the heat to kind of build up there. Now, if this were winter time, I would not even waste my time with this. I would actually go inside of the tent and cook, because with the air temperature and the wind, this thing would probably take the entire canister and it still wouldn't even boil. So right now it's actually doing really well. The flames are coming straight up on the pot. So we'll let that sit there for a few minutes, come up the temp, and hopefully have a nice hot meal before the rain comes back.